Good evening, people. I'm going to read a passage from the Enchanted Hour, and I'm going to go from that to the Silver Chair if my voice holds up. Megan Cox Gurdon, The Enchanted Hour, about reading to children and how it develops our brains. So, okay, so I wanted to get to this the other night, and my voice just gave out. So, I read a passage about the ministries or organizations that allow inmates to read to the children, to record readings to their children. And that started in Illinois, spread to Kentucky, Texas, Minnesota, Delaware, California, Vermont, Oklahoma, New York, New Hampshire, and other places, including the United Kingdom. So, they set up this program where you go in and they have people come in and, volunteers to set up video recording equipment and do recordings of parents reading books to their children so they can maintain a relationship with them. All right, get some water here. Hang on. Oh, no. Right there. Don't knock it over. I'm gonna wait a minute or two, see if anybody comes on. Rotate. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and start reading. It'll upload eventually. So I don't know if the passage I read last night, if it got uploaded or not, because it was not live. I have to upload it if I did not. But you can listen to this one first. This won't be any difference. It's not cumulative. So I know my voice is not doing that good. All right. So I'm going to read the last paragraph of the last section. Sitting together, reading together, focusing on the same story. These are intimate acts that bind us closer to one another. If a relationship is troubled, or if illness or disability or adolescence makes it talking awkward, if conversation feels too much like pressure, a shared book can lift everyone up and out of the situation, spanning the difficulty like a bridge. Okay. So a parent reading to a child, people reading together, one person reading to the other person, you may not be able to sit down and have a good, long, drawn out conversation. And right now I'm in a place where, not easy to do that with my children. I don't want to feel like I'm pushing the issue, but if I can sit down, they can sit there and listen to me read, then, they can listen to me making comments and reading the story. My voice is not doing good. Okay. All right, so the next section is a shared book can lift everyone up and out of the situation, spanning the difficulty like a bridge. Danica and Eric Romilly did not find their way to that bridge until their son Gabe was a teenager. At 17 months, Gabe had been diagnosed with a severe autism. As the years ticked by, he didn't talk, and he didn't seem to understand what people were saying around him. We read him board books when he was young, Danica told me, but he would never sit still. And at some point, when he was a toddler, we thought, screw this, he's not listening. Gabe's main interest was watching TV shows for little kids. He would watch episodes of Sesame Street, Barney, and Blue Clues over and over, sometimes on several devices at a time. When his parents or caregivers took him to the library, even after adolescence, he went straight for the baby books. That's where I thought we were, the mother said. That was his level, except it turns out it wasn't. Hello, Megan, how are you on this fine afternoon? The voice belonged to a young therapist named Najla. The words typed with one finger on a wireless keyboard were Gabe's. He was being funny. It was not a fine afternoon. It was not a fine afternoon. It was a beastly late January, and outside the Romneys' house, freezing rain was sluicing down, gurgling in the gutters and spattering the leaves. Everything had changed for the family 18 months earlier when a therapist introduced Gabe to a system called the rapid prompting method, the mechanism that he and Nadja were using when I met them. For the first time in Gabe's life, he could express himself in full sentences. Until that point, for 14 years, he had not been able to show that he had been listening. He did have feelings, and though he could not speak, he did have a voice that was witty, intelligent, and highly self-aware. As you may imagine, Gabe's parents were at once stricken with remorse and suffused with gratitude. They now had a chance to get to know their son in a fresh and wonderful way, and he at last could express himself despite being trapped in what he has described as the body of a drunken toddler. Danica and Eric began reading to Gabe again. They would sit with him on the sofa, and now, though he might rock or fidget, they knew didn't mean he wasn't paying attention. Even though I don't seem to be listening, I am, he said. A couple of times a week, his therapist would read magazines and newspaper articles out loud to him. His parents chose young adult literature. By the time I met them in the kitchen of their suburban home, they'd read the first book in the Harry Potter series. They tried the Hunger Games, but that kind of fell apart, Danica said. They had devoured Lewis Lowry's The Giver and were about to embark on the absolutely true diary of a part-time Indian by Sherman Alexie. Using the keyboard with Nadja speaking his words at the pace he typed, Gabe explained, I am addicted to screens, but there is nothing I'd love more than to have someone ... read to me ... all day long ... instead. It's hard to do justice in writing to the poignant pace of our conversation. It was obvious that Gabe had a quick mind, but he could express himself only at the speed of one finger hitting one key at a time. I wish I could read on my own, but my body doesn't cooperate. I asked how Gabe felt on the inside when his mother read to him. It takes me to another place ... which I'm ... completely ... normal. In which I'm completely normal. Gabe was still typing. Of course, I love ... being close to her ... I experience the world ... through movies and books ... to quote a friend. Najla explained that one of Gabe's friends, who was also autistic, had used a similar phrase. It was striking to consider that the same technology that has so many of us in its thrall, the screens and keyboards that dominate our waking hours, has freed a personality that had been trapped in silence. What memoirs Judith Newman calls the kindness of machines has for Gabe given voice to an intellect expanded and nourished by reading aloud. Do you have anything to say to parents with kids that don't seem to be paying attention? I asked him. Should they keep reading to them anyway? Gabe typed million times ... Yes, we are always listening. So this autistic kid is saying that autistic kids are always listening. They know what you're saying. They're just trapped inside of a body that won't cooperate in written language or even typing. So he has to just pick one letter at a time, like I did on my writing, one letter at a time. If I can do it, an autistic kid can do it, right? Okay. So that's that book, Enchanted Hour. And I think I'll stop this one, and then I'll see how my voice is doing, and try to read a thing of what do you call it? Oh heck, it's running. Let me look at this. Anybody on here? No, nobody's on yet. Okay, fine. It's not Sunday night, but oh well. Okay, so if anybody signs on when I'm reading, when I'm live, sees this, I'll go ahead and I'll plan on tomorrow night, okay? Because this chapter is pretty long. I won't be able to read the whole chapter tomorrow night. It is about like 10 pages, 11 pages. So I'll probably maybe get half of that. I don't know. We'll see. I'll do a practice run or something. All right. Well, I'm going to call it good. So yeah, read to your kids, read to your children, read to your grandchildren, read to your nieces and nephews. You know, remember the books Letter to Philip and Letters to Karen by Philip Yancey. You know, he wrote letters to his kids, nieces and nephews, niece and nephew. Anyway, very famous books, Christian literature. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you. Bye.